Yeah. Welcome to Inspired Leaders' 6th anniversary. Woohoo! What an awesome day, you guys. We are so grateful. I feel so humbled. I'm probably going to cry a lot today. It will be fine. But I am just so honored to have all of you guys here with us today. You are why we do Inspired Leaders. When Andy and I started our business a few years ago, I wanted to quit my safe teaching job and become an entrepreneur, like a crazy person. Anybody else leave a safe job to start a business or do something that was not guaranteed? A lot of us, right? It happens all the time, every day. And one of the things that I was doing was I was networking a lot in this community and meeting so many wonderful people who had gone before me and done something similar. And I wanted to learn from them. So I asked questions and they shared stories with me. And so we created Inspired Leaders to be a resource. So I was telling somebody earlier, at first it was more of like a tactical business type of group. And then we'd have a speaker come and talk about something like maybe social media. And then that morphed into people coming and sharing their stories. And we ask our speakers month after month to stand up in front of a whole bunch of strangers and share their shit with all of you. Because it is in our lowest moments and it is in those darkest days that we find our strength and we find hope in other people and support in other people. And so by bringing these speakers up here month after month to come and share their stories with you, our hope is that you continue on with your business, your endeavor, whatever it is that you're doing, no matter where you are in that journey. If you feel discouraged or unsure and you're not sure if you can keep going, we hope that you find inspiredness here at Inspired Leaders and that you are able to continue on your journey and be happy and feel supported and loved by this beautiful, amazing community that we live in. So it is incredible that for 6 years we have been doing this through all the crazy times of the world and everything going on. We have continued to show up month after month. So today is Inspired Leaders Day, and the second Friday of every month is that. So we are really grateful to have you guys here and joining us. If you wouldn't mind, for the next hour, if you could silence your phones, that would be amazing. Just take this time for you and enjoy yourself. If you need to make a call, answer a call, anything like that, please feel free to go in the lobby. We know that things happen. But if you can, just take this time for you and enjoy the next little bit. So you can follow us all over social media. We're on Instagram and Facebook, LinkedIn. You can find all of our events there. You can see past event photos, and you can also watch our past speakers. So we've got a YouTube channel. So if you scan this QR code, you can get connected to all those things. You can watch them on YouTube. You can watch them on our website. And so you can revisit these speakers that you may have missed or that you saw and you loved. So please use that as a tool. And then also, if you are interested or know somebody who might want to be a speaker themselves, you can go to our website, which is also on this QR code, and start that process. And it starts with filling out an application. So that is on our website. And if you are interested in sponsoring this event and helping us put on this amazing, amazing event every month, you can apply to be a sponsor on our website also. So that QR code gets you to all things Inspired Leaders, everything that you can share and dive into. So today is a celebration day, and we are really, really grateful for that. And so we had added a little bit of zhuzh and pizzazz to our event with the flowers and balloons and the delicious dessert. And we've got some very special sponsors that helped us to do that. So I want to make sure I recognize those sponsors. So if I call your name real quick, if you could just stand up, and we're going to give you all a round of applause. But we've got flowers thanks to Eric Brand with the Flower Rental Company. We've got balloons thanks to Don Candy with I Promote You. And we've got dessert thanks to Elizabeth Smiles with Faux Desserts. We are so grateful for these sponsors that just helped us bring a little bit of extra fun to our event today.
Inspired Leaders.
Inspired Leaders.
Inspired Leaders.
Inspired Leaders.
Inspired Leaders.
Inspired Leaders.
All right, y'all, today we are celebrating celebrating 6 years, and we are so happy to be able to do that with all of you. If you are a past speaker of Inspired Leaders, if you could line up over here at the bottom of the stage for me, that would be great. You guys, the speakers that have talked to us for the last 6 years literally are raising their hands saying, sure, Elizabeth, I'll share my shit with a room full of strangers, no problem, right? It is a big ask for us to be asking these speakers to come in and share with us things that they've been through, what they've struggled with, any number of stories that have been shared. It's really incredible. And so we are really excited to be able to honor the ones that are, all of them today, but for specifically the ones that are here, you guys are going to get to know them. You could go back and watch about them on our website or on YouTube and see their story. So please help me congratulate all of these speakers. So first we have Mr. Terry Weaver. He's all the way in the back. Come on, Terry. What's happening? Then we have Steve Scott. All right, Steve. Mr. Eddie Skinner. All right. Miss Angela Aja. Daryl Jones. Deborah Myers. Dave Stanbridge. Judge Wayne Mack. Randy Lovelace. Marlise Ledbetter. Saeed Zafar. Judge Charlene White Valdez. Kai Bishop. Chris Wenstrom. Robert Bodwin. I'm sorry. Okay, sorry, I can't read. All right, so these are all of our speakers that have spoken for many of the past 6 years, and now we're going to honor our anniversary speakers. So today we have Miss Dawn Candy. Except I'm totally messing up over here. So we also had Dr. Ashley Prince, who could not be here with us today. So give her a big round of applause. And then Mr. Zach Galindo, looks like he couldn't make it either, but we give him a big round of applause. I'm so sorry. Now, Dawn Candy, can y'all do that again so you can take a picture with Dawn's picture back there? Look, you're on the screen. We just, can you pretend to do that again so we can, there we go. All right. I'm so sorry. I got ahead of myself. Okay, now you can stand in line. That was perfect. Thank you. All right, Miss Mele Wata. She couldn't be with us today, but big round of applause. Mr. David McGuffin. The scariest, kindest bear that we all love. He's the best. Stacy Abella. Jenny Rosales. Miss Lori Gasca. Elizabeth Strauss. Taylor Koibion. Not here. And Miss Kristen Cherry. You guys, these speakers have stood up on this stage and shared their stories with you, and I could not be more grateful. Thank you guys so much for believing in what we are doing here at Inspired Leaders, for inspiring our amazing community with your grit, perseverance, and success. It is beautiful, and it is an honor to give you a platform to share your story. So thank you for your bravery and your grace standing up here month after month. Give them a huge round of applause. Okay, real quick, we are going to attempt to get a one big photo on this stage. If we could just scoot in and get all cozy. All right, ready? 1, 2. Y'all are the best. Give them a huge round of applause.
While they're coming off the stage, every May, we like to take this time to celebrate not only, of course, our past speakers, but also where we've been, where we are, and where we are going. And so when we started Inspired Leaders, when it was 12 of us sitting around a conference table, and we still had a lot of elbow room, to growing it to 50 or some odd people in 2019 and 2020, and then we all go behind our computers in 2020, and then now regrowing it to what you see today. Inspired Leaders has been through a lot. We've experienced a lot. You all have been here with us all the way, and so we've persisted, and so we're very, very proud of that, and so we like to celebrate that. The mission was just behind me, and what I like to share about our mission is what we try to do, what you experience each time that you come to Inspire Leaders. What we try to do day in and day out is helping to enlighten and enable and lift the entrepreneurial spirit here in our own community, and then have a ripple effect throughout society. And as part of our vision, we're excited that I think after 6 years, we're just getting started. I know that we have reached thousands of people, but our vision, we can envision that all of us in this room, as we continue to grow, we can reach millions of people in a positive way, reaching leaders and business owners and entrepreneurs. Now, there's two groups of people that I want to introduce to you today. Many of you already know them. The first is a group of volunteers that stand up every single month. They do the behind the scenes work to make sure that this event runs as smoothly as possible. So if you are part of our leadership team, would you please stand up where you are? These people, please stay standing. These people make sure that this event runs as smoothly as possible, from putting up banners to breaking down stuff to showing up early to staying late to helping the speakers get prepped to making sure the food is taken care of. If it wasn't for this group of people, Inspire Leaders would still only be 12 people around a conference table. So these people are so integral to Inspire Leaders. So thank you all so much. We have some exciting news for Inspired Leaders. As of 2024, we have filed to become a 501c3 nonprofit. Now, as part of that process, we're not there yet. As part of that process, we do have to designate a board of directors, and these folks help make sure that Inspired Leaders works towards fulfilling its vision, but also making sure that we mind our P's and Q's when it comes to being a 501c3 nonprofit. So if you are part of our board of directors, would you please stand up where you are? Thank you to our board of directors. They're doing a lot of work behind the scenes to make sure that we are getting where we need to be with this nonprofit. Many of you run nonprofits in this room. You know sometimes how difficult that can be. So the last thing that I want to say is, if you want to get involved more with Inspired Leaders, if you want to become a sponsor, if you want to be a speaker, if you know someone that wants to be a speaker, if you want to be on the leadership team, please come talk to our leadership team, come talk to Elizabeth or myself, because we are growing and we need your help. As we have more and more people here, we have more and more food that we need to put out, and that has a cost to it. This facility is paid for by our sponsors, and as we continue to grow, our resources have to grow along with that, because we're not going to stop on our mission, and because we know that we have a great vision. We know that we can go and fulfill our vision, and we need your help. So please come talk to us. We need all of your help. Please bring friends when you come back next month, and thank you so much for being here at Inspired Leaders. I am so proud to introduce this next person. She needs no introduction. She is the heart and soul of my life. She's the heart and soul of this organization. She's so inspiring. She's going to do such a wonderful job. So please welcome our keynote speaker for May 6th anniversary of Inspired Leaders, Elizabeth Greever.
I don't think I have ever been this happy. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being here today, for supporting Inspired Leaders all of this time, even when we didn't think it was going to be able to keep going. It's just really incredible that we have gotten here, and I'm just so grateful. We felt like, on this anniversary time is a good opportunity for Andy and I to share our shit and to share our stories, because we ask our speakers month after month to come up here and do that themselves, and we know that it is a really hard task. It is a very challenging one. So I hope that what I share with you today inspires all of you, and I hope that you can go on and keep going. On January 1st, 2023, I was laying on our bed with tears pouring down my face. And I said to Andy, I can't do this anymore. I had felt like I had been punched in the gut and no idea if I was ever going to recover. I was bitter from a year of working with people to help us grow our business, only to be left with what felt like nothing. I was exhausted trying to be everywhere, doing everything, all in the name of this growth. And I felt stuck, 10 steps back from where I had begun, and no idea how I was going to move forward. And underneath all of that, I felt like I wasn't good enough. I wasn't good enough to be successful. I wasn't good enough to lead this team of people, and I wasn't good enough to achieve the goals that I was after. I don't think I have ever felt that defeated and disappointed. Many of you know that I left teaching to start Everson Cooper in 2016. I went from a financially safe teaching job to the unknown world of owning a business. So you get paychecks every 2 weeks to never knowing if you are ever going to get paid again. But by the beginning of 2022, Everson Cooper was doing really well. We had 11 rental properties. We were flipping houses almost one after the next, and we had a really good footing in this beautiful community. But then came the discussions of growth. What are we going to do with all of this success? Do we bring on people to expand our reach? Do we start our business again in another location? How can we continue to beat our numbers? And as a type A, this was all fueling for me, and I wanted every bit of it. And as our business continued to thrive, we, in fact, started doing these things. So we hired people to strategically invest in our business in every way that we could. We started by building a team and bringing on others that could do things and help me in spots of my business that I was either no good at or didn't want to do. And all of this was helping us progress our company. And the best part was that because I had all these other people working with me, I had more time to do what we love, which is to travel. And at the beginning of 2022, I was really adamant that I wanted to spend time with our family and friends. I was keenly aware of how precious time is, and so I made sure to go home and visit my parents or to take time out of our week to spend time with our friends. This, to me, is a sign of success. But in spite of all of the travel and all of these hired positions, I was terrified. And I remember at one point telling the coach that I was working with that all of this really scared me. Paying all of these people, having all of this extra overhead, all I really wanted to do was cancel everything. But I felt like that was an old story that I was telling myself. And so I decided to keep going and keep pursuing the journey that we were on so that we could get the growth and success that we were after. The only problem was that things were moving so quickly in front of me, I could hardly keep up. I was going from one meeting to the next, and when I wasn't in meetings, I was managing our projects or being a landlord. And helping grow our, continue to do design work in our business. And all of these things sound like success. They sound like a booming business. But on the inside, I was under so much stress and pressure, I felt like I couldn't breathe. My brain could not keep up with the speed of all of this, and I was exhausted. I was running myself into the ground, and I'd barely stop for anything. But I'm a positive person, so I focused on what needed to be done and kept going. Because through it all, I thought that maybe we were getting somewhere. And I thought that all of this chaos and stress was normal. I thought that this was how it was supposed to be to get where you wanted to go. But then in September of 2022, a series of bombs were dropped on my life. Looking back now, it reminded me of when we traveled to Berlin, Germany. What caught me off guard is how much I loved Berlin. It was the last city that we traveled to after going to Paris and Amsterdam, two wildly beautiful cities, to come to a very industrial, cold city. And the reason it's that way is because it was bombed during the war. And when it was rebuilt, it was very static and very cold. But what really intrigued me is that throughout the city, they preserved signs of the war. They preserved these as reminders of what had happened so that they could learn from them. Examples of this are that a large portion of the Berlin Wall is still standing today. Or many of the buildings that didn't fall from being bombed have bullet marks all over them, or burn marks from these raging fires. But they are proud of their city and proud of how far they've come. But the bombs, all I could think about were the bombs. And that's what I was starting to feel. I mentioned that we did a lot of traveling in 2022. And in September, we were in Los Angeles visiting my cousins. And we were having a blast and really enjoying some good family time. And then one night at dinner, one of our best friends called us to let us know that our dog Deuce would not get up off the floor. Not for anything. Not even his favorite squeaky toy would get this dog off the floor to go outside. So they ended up dragging his bed out there, supported him to get him up, but when he walked, he would not put any pressure on his front leg. So we changed our return flight and took it home to him. And we decided that when we got home, we wouldn't act like anything was wrong and just kind of see where everything was, because this was a very new situation. So we got there when it was time for breakfast. We came inside, gave him big hugs and kisses, and put food in his bowl. Well, lo and behold, that dog walked on over to his bowl and ate his food, and so we figured, all right, everything's fine. The next day, the acupuncture vet that we had been working with for Deuce came to our home to examine him. And it was the most beautiful examination I have ever seen as she rubbed and felt every piece of that dog's body. And she looked at me in the eye and said, I don't want to scare you, but I've got bone cancer in the back of my mind. This was when the first bomb was dropped. She quickly encouraged me that it could also just be a fracture. And so she got on the phone with a vet who could see us the next day and do an x-ray, and an oncologist who could see us 2 weeks later, just in case. It turns out she was right. It was bone cancer. And all of a sudden, we're staring at all of these treatment options that we have to try and figure out how to help our boy. The tears that night were flowing, and I was beside myself. But we sat there with stacks of estimates in front of us, trying to decide, what are we going to do? Do we do nothing? Do we just do some holistic care and hope that that's enough? Do we just do chemo and radiation and hope that that's enough? Or do we do a little bit of all of it? So something that we allowed ourselves that night was to walk through each of these options and let them all be okay and all be valid options for us to choose from. And this, while we were so scared and so overwhelmed and really unsure, allowing ourselves the ability that every answer was a good answer made us confident in our choice. Well, you know us. The next week, we were starting radiation and chemo for our sweet dog and continuing to do all of the holistic care that we had already been doing for his quality of life. So at first, we were going down to Houston 4 days in a row. And we would have to get up and leave our house by 6:25 in the morning. Because if we left any later, you all know it's 30 more minutes on the road. So we'd get to the vet and we would drop him off and hope that everything was gonna be okay. Because they don't let you go back and be with your dog all day. So we would go to a local coffee shop and just try and get some work done and get focused for the day. And then go find a place for lunch in hopes that they would soon be calling us to pick up our boy. But many days, it was late in the afternoon before they would call us. It was very agonizing to spend these days in anticipation, waiting to hear if he was okay. Did he even make it through the treatment? And it was a definite mindset shift for us to do all of this. For Andy and I, we are two people who are go, go, go with our jobs and everything that we're doing. And it was a jolt to have to readjust and be talking about going down to Houston for treatment. But we decided that we were going to do these days together as a family. And we are so grateful that our jobs gave us the flexibility to do that. We eventually learned that many of the late afternoons were because when the other dogs left, the nurses would let Deuce out of his kennel that they very specifically had for him by their desks, and they would give him Cheese Whiz and play with him. So we're pretty sure that they just kept him all day because they loved him and tortured us wondering if our dog was all right. But when we learned that, we felt so happy that he was so happy. So we didn't care. Okay. I didn't realize this at the time, but September of 2022 was when our flipping train stopped. We closed our last flip house that month and did not buy another one until literally this year. The significance of that is that this is where a lot of our operating income comes from. This was the money that we were using to pay all of these people to help our business grow. But like I said, I didn't realize all of this right off the bat. And 2022 was year 6 of Everson Cooper, and we were bringing in the most money that Everson Cooper had ever seen. We flipped 4 very profitable houses. We had our 11 occupied rentals, and we had just started our first short-term rental up on Lake Conroe that had an incredible summer season. So we were doing great, and we were feeling really good about all the things that were happening with our business. But when we would have meetings about our financials, I spent a lot of them crying, asking, where is all of our money? Like, what should I be doing differently so that I can see the money in the bank that you're telling me on my financials I have? But I was quite literally told that every business owner feels this way. That they all ask these same questions about where is the money that our financial people are telling us that we have. So on the one hand, I felt like, all right, that makes me feel a little bit better, right? Other people are in this same boat. But on the other hand, I'm like, what? This makes no sense to me. What do you mean all of these business owners feel this way? Why is this normal? Why is this okay? So with total determination, I figured that if I worked harder and did more, I would have more money in the bank to show for it. It wasn't until we were doing our annual review at the end of 2022, and we were going through our profit and loss line by line. We got to the bottom to see that our net profit was calculated at 4% of our gross, which was down from 15% the year before, which is why we wanted strategic people to help us to grow that and make that better and make our business more profitable. But we had plummeted to 4%. My head was spinning as I was putting all of this information together. We had made the most money ever, and we thought we were doing so well. But then everything just plummeted in front of us. Bomb. So I was asking question after question, but we were told that all of our expenses were standard, that we weren't spending too much money, that everything that we were doing looked good, no category was too high, and we were on track. But how in the world did that much money go out the window? I felt like a whole lot of effort for nothing. Less than nothing, actually, because we went backwards. And I have never felt like such a failure. And I had no idea what to do next. The worst part, a little salt on the wound, was that we had made it to a higher tax bracket, still got to pay those. The feelings of frustration and devastation were consuming. It was the opposite of where we thought we would be, and with all of the momentum and efforts and support that we had, surely we would see something come out of this. But instead, we found ourselves in the lowest place we had ever been, unsure of how we were going to pay these bills or keep going or ever get out of this situation. It was like being at the bottom of a dark hole with no visible ladder out. This was rock bottom for me. Meanwhile, during all of this, we were trying to get pregnant. We began family planning in September of 2021, and every month was filled with anticipation. And month after month, no baby. So at first, we were okay. We knew that this would take some time, and we didn't focus on it really that much. But the more time that went by, the sadder we would be. Negative test after negative test after negative test. Bomb, bomb, bomb. So after a year, I went to see my OB-GYN, and he said that he wanted to do some tests to make sure that everything was working properly. So my first was to go get an x-ray of my uterus. I'm thinking, okay, cool. I know what an x-ray is. So I drive 45 minutes to the other side of town in the pouring rain because it's the only place that could get me in anytime soon. And I get dressed in a gown as I'm waiting for my turn, and the nurse is telling me what to expect for this x-ray. Excuse me, I'm gonna get just a little bit graphic here, but they proceeded to tell me that they were going to open me up with forceps, insert a catheter, blow up a balloon, and release dye inside of me to see if my fallopian tubes were working and open. Tears started pouring down my face. I had no idea that this is how they did this x-ray, and I was so overwhelmed with how invasive and unexpected this whole situation was. I felt very vulnerable and very scared. She asked me if I wanted to reschedule, but I told her that if I left, I was never coming back. So after this, we started our next steps for trying to get pregnant. And at first, it was a course of Clomid, which for those of you that don't know, is supposed to help make sure that you ovulate. So once a month, I would go and get my blood work done to see if the pill worked. If I wasn't pregnant, I would go to my OB-GYN, I'd get an exam, and then she would increase the dosage. Month after month, pill after pill, test after test, and still, no baby. Every time I'd go, they would tell me, this is normal. We'll just increase the dosage this time. Or maybe you should go talk to somebody about doing IVF. That might be your best option. But to tell you the truth, all of this was exhausting. And every doctor's appointment just felt like an invasion on my body and my worthiness to be a mother. Is getting pregnant really supposed to feel like this? And every day these thoughts and questions would whirl around in my head. Why wasn't my body working? What am I doing wrong? Am I good enough to have a baby? Am I ever going to be a mother? But then I would have to suck up my tears and refresh my makeup, kick on the heels, and go from this devastating doctor's appointment to whatever business meeting came next. All in one fell swoop, never taking the time, really, to process any of it. Which brings me back to the 1st of January in 2023, feeling completely beat down. At that point, Deuce was in the middle of his treatment. We went into a year in the worst place we ever had in our business, and we were struggling to create a family of our own. And it was in this conversation that I told Andy, I can't do this anymore. I told him that I didn't want to continue taking Clomid. It wasn't making me feel good, and the constant doctor's appointments with no good news were just too much for me to bear any longer. Plus, the anticipation every month of whether or not I was pregnant is exhausting. But for me, the hardest part was every time I would have to go up to Andy and tell him, I'm not pregnant. And tears would just fill our eyes. And it was the saddest days. It was time for me to let this go and just give my body a break. From a business perspective, we both agreed something had to change. So one hope that we had was that our new CPA had told us to read the book Profit First. Cool, I'll do anything. So I read the book and we started implementing that just little by little. In addition, we cut our overhead by 80%. And to this day, we continue to deeply evaluate every single expense. And while in some ways this made things harder for us because we either had to pick up the slack or release that part of our business, but it was necessary in order to get our business healthy again. Deuce's last treatment was the beginning of March 2023, and he felt great. His scans looked good, and we came home with all of the hope in the world that he would continue to live and thrive a very long life. He was doing so great until he wasn't. By late May, he would not get up to walk. His little body had just had enough. And on June 19th, he was breathing so heavy after coming in from being outside. So we put these cooling cloths on him. We have very bougie dogs at home. And to try and help cool him down and calm him down from being out there. And that night was the first that he would not eat dinner. So we laid with him for hours and just loved on him and cuddled with him. And the next morning, we called our acupuncture vet and told her what was going on, and she said, "You need to get to the ER now." We really wanted to go to the hospital that had been treating him for all of his cancer, but they were an hour away, and we just knew we could not go that far with him. So we took our chances on a place nearby with nobody that we knew in hopes that they could help our boy. So we get there and get him inside. We give him kisses on his face and tell him that we love him, and they take him back for treatment. Within minutes, they came to get us because they were doing CPR. And just like that, he was gone. We were heartbroken. All of this reminds me of our time when we were in Berlin, a city that for years after the war was heartbroken. My favorite spot in Berlin is the Berliner Dome. It is this gorgeous church that was bombed during the war. And what's wild is that this bomb dropped all the way through the church to the basement, catching much of it on fire. But the bomb was a dud. It did not blow up the church. What could have been a pile of rubble stands this gorgeous church today that they continue to restore, but they never wipe away the scars that show these fires that burned inside of that church. They want them to stay there to serve as a reminder of what they've been through. I feel like that church. What could have been a pile of rubble, I feel like that church, like everything inside of me caught on fire. But those bombs never went off. They didn't blow up my life. And to be honest, I'm still feeling these fires burning inside of me. And I for sure have scars. But just like this church, I am not going to hide my scars. I am not going to be ashamed of them. I am going to be proud of them because these scars have shaped me and they have taught me. And it turns out that I received the growth that I was after all along. It's just that that growth was inside of me rather than in my business or at this point in my family. So here is what I have learned being on this journey. The hustle and grind culture that we live in is phony. And excuse me, but one big pissing contest. And somehow, I got caught up in all of it. If you want to conquer the world and have this huge business, do it. And if you want to have a small business that sustains you and your family and maybe a few others, do it. But decide what is right for you and your family and this life that you want to live. Don't make these decisions for other people or for what you want to post about on social media. My gut was telling me that going after all this business growth wasn't right. And I knew that when I told my coach that I wanted to cancel everything and just restart. But I kept going because I thought that that's what I was supposed to do. I thought that this is how I was going to be successful. I have spent my entire life looking to others for answers and approval. And while I have not completely broken that habit, I am taking my power back. I mentioned that I wasn't out of the fire yet, and one of the areas I am still navigating is my health. Our bodies prioritize fight or flight over procreation. So I am on a journey to make sure that my body is happy before I ever try and grow another human being inside of it. So instead of going to these doctors scared and asking them, what is wrong with me? Why can't I get pregnant? Why am I having all of these other issues? I am telling them, I want these tests, I want to explore this, I want to go see this specialist, and I want to make sure that we are gathering all of the information to get to the root of my health issues. It is up to me to make this healing happen and to advocate for myself. And it is the same in my business. Instead of looking to others for answers, I'm looking to them for discussion and ideas and expertise and experience. But I'm taking it all in and listening to my gut and deciding what is the best for me and our family and the life that we want to live. And I have the power now, and I'm not giving it away anymore. So here is what I will leave you with. I am enough, and so are you, and I am worthy of the success that I want to have. The power to live the lives that we want is inside of us. So take that power back. And be sure to always surround yourself with community. It is because of all of you here at Inspired Leaders and all of the speakers that have gone before me that I did not quit. And believe me, I wanted to. But I thought about you, and I thought about these speakers, and I thought about the stories that they shared, and I thought if they could keep going, so can I. And I found encouragement and inspiration in this group every day, what felt like especially. And I was able to harness that and keep going. In life, we might feel like we have a series of bombs just being dropped on us that could explode at any moment. But even after the bomb is dropped, we don't have to turn to rubble. It won't explode if we don't let it. Stand tall, keep going, and be proud of the scars that you have. Thank you.
That feeling that you have when you love someone so deeply and you are so proud of them. That's the feeling that I have right now. As Marlise Ledbetter likes to say, it's your pain to purpose story, your pain to power story. You are the person most qualified to help other people with what you have gone through. I hope you feel that power today. Next month, we have Larry Nail, who has a wonderful, wonderful story. June 14th, right back here at Vibrant Church. Please come back. Please bring a friend. Please bring many friends. We are so thankful for all of you, for all that you have done and continue to do for Inspire Leaders. We hope that you have had a wonderful, beautiful day. Have a beautiful, happy Mother's Day. Thank you so much.